Very good morning, student friends. This is Dr. Gopala Krishna. Today we are going to the topic fourth sem gender school society subject. దాంట్లో బేసికల్గా ఫస్ట్ చాప్టర్ వచ్చి జెండర్ స్కూల్ సొసైటీలో ఫస్ట్ చాప్టర్ బేసిక్ ఆఫ్ జెండర్. మెయిన్గా ఈ బేసిక్ ఆఫ్ జెండర్ అనే కాన్సెప్ట్లో అసలు ఈ సబ్జెక్ట్ అనేది ఫస్ట్ సైకాలజీలో సబ్జెక్ట్ కింద ఉంది. దీనిలో సైకాలజీలో వచ్చేటువంటి కొన్ని సబ్జెక్ట్స్ని ఇన్వాల్వ్ చేసి అగైన్ సమ్ క్లాసిఫికేషన్స్ ఆఫ్ ది సబ్జెక్ట్స్ కింద డిఫరెంట్ సెమిస్టర్స్లోని వేరియస్ సబ్జెక్ట్స్ కింద యాడ్ చేయడం జరిగింది. సో రిగార్డింగ్ ఇన్ ది సబ్జెక్ట్ విల్ డిస్కస్ బిఫోర్ ద కాన్సెప్ట్ ఆఫ్ జెండర్. సో వాట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ జెండర్, వాట్ ఈస్ సెక్స్, what is the characteristics of the gender, what is the male, what is female, what are the sociological factors, ఇవన్నీ కూడా మనం దీంట్లో డిస్కస్ చేస్తాం. బేసికల్గా ఫస్ట్ యూనిట్ 1లో జెండర్ స్కూల్ సొసైటీలో యూనిట్ 1లో సెమిస్టర్ 4 is a very important subject, is a gender school society. The first concept of gender refers to the cultural, social constructed difference between the two sexes. Manu previous number of times to discuss, the sex is called just like the male and female. The sex is depending on the biological system. Okay, so gender refers to the cultural, social constructed difference between the two sexes. It refers to the way society encourages and teaches the two sexes to behave in the different ways through socialization. Okay, so concepts or terms used social scientists and analytical categories to study society and social behavior. Concepts such as sex and gender, these are the main subject, sex and gender, the masculinity and femininity and important terms in gender studies. Okay, next we will go to the next slide. The gender is an analytical category that is socially constructed to differentiate the biological difference between men and women. Already previously told. What's the difference between the men and women? So what is called men, what is called women? Actually the physiological changes, the mental changes, the emotional changes, the languages, the activities, involvements according to some characteristics of the men and characteristics of the women. The society or the family or school or college, university, the boy or girl, they're acting some involvements. They're attracted things also, their inner the behaviors like a attitude, attributes. So they differs from the men and women compared to the men and women. The mainly the biological differences between the men and women. The term gender is also used to describe the difference between men and women. The term gender is also used to describe the difference in the behavior between men and women, which are described as a masculine and feminine. Feminist writings focus on these aspects and claim that these differences are about biological but are social constructions of the particular society. So those who are characteristics in the society, for example, according to the Aristotle, the first lesson, the introduction of psychology, that expressed the Aristotle, the dianima. What is called dianima? For example, the men have some characteristics, just like a voice, emotional or social activities, or behavioral things, or behavioral environments, are motivated, or these are the characteristics of the men. And at the same time women also, women sometimes they feel very uneasiness, they're very simple mentality, like any problems or any situations they are not ready to face the type of problems. There is a female, but of course some female candidates also were ready to face any type of problems in the society, then not only the society, in the family or other situations also, they're ready to face. So on the time, according to the Aristotle, that expressed the dyanima definition, some men also, they feel act as a female. Sometimes the female also act as a men according to the characteristics. Okay, so once again I repeat the definition. Gender is an analytical category that is socially constructed to difference the biological difference between men and women. The term gender is also used to describe the difference between men and women. The term gender is also used to describe the difference in behavior between men and women, which are described as a masculine and feminine. Feminist writing focus on the aspects and claim that these differences are about biological but are social constructions of partial society. Okay, the term gender should be used to refer to the social and cultural constructions of masculinity and feminities, and not to the state of being males or female in its entirety. The term gender should be used to refer to the social and cultural. Actual sex of men and women, the male and female, elagate discuss chestunnamo. Gender indicates the social activities, the cultural construction, involvement in the society ethics. So the social and cultural constructions depend on the gender behaviors and femininity, and not to the state of being males or female in its entirety. And meaning of gender. So what is meaning of gender? Gender allows us to see these dimensions of human role and personalities as based not on nature but on nature but on social factors. It then allows us to address issues like subordination and discrimination as issue where change is possible. Actually, the gender allows us to see these the dimensions, human role, and the personalities. Here, what is the meaning of personality? Yeah, students. Actually, the personality is not like a height, weight, color, chin, just like a small. That is only physical only. Personality means just like the best example of Mahatma Gandhi, Mother Teresa. Personality means in our psychological aspects, internal thoughts and external behavior. So those who are involvement of the internal thoughts means అంతర్గతంగా ఉండేటువంటి ఆలోచనలు అండ్ ఎక్స్టర్నల్ బిహేవియర్స్, బయటికి ఏదైతే బిహేవ్ చేస్తారో. ద బెస్ట్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఆఫ్ మహాత్మా గాంధీ. Entire universe, the Gandhi expressed the Mahatma. So actually everybody knows what about the Mahatma Gandhi physique, what about the color, what about the dress sense, what about the cosmetics and everything. Everybody knows what about the Mahatma Gandhi, but entire world, the Mahatma Gandhi is called as a Mahatma. Is their services, and that is called the gender discriminate, the social involvement, social responsibility, social and cultural thoughts. That is called as a personal. Another example is a great example of the personality of the Mother Teresa. Yes, the Mother Teresa, very simple and very fantastic services. The not only one area, the West Bengal or other country, other states also very named, very great personality of Mother Teresa. The indication of service. So personality is not a physique, height, color, chin. This is the only physique. Personality means internal thoughts and external behavior. Their attitude, their character, their behavior, their responsibility is called as a great personality. The gender మెయిన్ గా జెండర్ అనేది అవుట్పుట్ అనేది సొసైటీలో gender allows us to see these dimensions of the human role and personality as based not on nature but on nature social factors, sociological aspects లో ఏదైతే ఉంటుందో అనందరూ చేస్తారు. It then allows us to address issue like subordination and discrimination as issue where charge is possible. The gender refers to the socially constructed roles, behaving activities. Yes, once again I repeat the roles. Roles means the characteristics, involvements, the ఏ విధంగా ఎలా ఉందనేది అందులో చూస్తుంటాం. Behaving, their behavior, the behavior involvements, just like in our school or college, university, family, friends, neighbors, well wishers, what their behavior. So behavior mainly, the behavior is not only one aspect, all aspects, just like the time management, the discipline, activity, involvement, responsibility, respect. These all are the behavior things. According to their behavior, the person indicates as a good or bad. So the gender also, they discuss and describe the, is it a good or bad, according to their behavior. And also activities. So activities is mainly they're doing the practices, just like from morning to evening, their habits, their habitative things and practice, just like the good practice, the good example of book reading, the good respect to other people, the respect to their well wishers, the respect to the teachers, respect to their institutions, respect to their the family members, respect to their guru, according to so these are the activities and attributes, attitudes. These are the main concepts society consider appropriate for men and women according to the characteristics, involvement, their works and tasks also that indicate men and women according to the gender. So once again, the gender, repeat, gender refers to the social construction, roles, behaving, activities, attributes that a given society consider appropriate for men and women. The scope of gender. Gender is related to many disciplines such as literary theory, drama studies, film theory, contemporary art. Okay, disciplines. The gender is related to many disciplines. So disciplines means not only the discipline is a calm and good, not only that, it's all aspects, the various subjects, the various things, various activities, various involvements, different participations, the different tasks in the society. So also indicate as a gender, such as a literary theory, the drama studies, the film theory, contemporary art. Oh, mainly here some subjects also indication, just like a history, anthropology, sociology, social linguistic, and psychology, for example. So history, what is a history subject? History is the background of the history, is the previous studies, the gender indications of how to indicate. And anthropology, as dear student friends, please try to study of the anthropology, is a very, very good subject. The anthropology in Telugu terminology, Manava Shastram, the maximum of students, the previous last 10 years and 15 years, the maximum of people, they are choose the anthropology at their APPSC examination, UPSC examination. Anthropology is a very, very simple subject and important subject also. The scoring maximum of persons there choose and select the one of the option paper, anthropology. If you go to any competitive persons, or if you go to any APPSC examination, UPSC examination, please read once again anthropology subject. Also very simple subject and interesting subject. Anthropology is just like the human studies, just like the human studies. There is difference between anthropology and psychology. The psychology is a study of human behavior. Anthropology is a study of human things only. So what is human? What are the culture? What is the characteristics? What are the classifications? Just like a groups. What is the culture, tradition? How many classifications of groups? Just like a SC, ST, BC. Again, the BC also classification, BCA, BCB, BCC, BCD. Again, also classification. So many groups. So these are indications of the anthropology. Some culture also. Just like some marriages, the OC candidates, BC candidates, or SC candidates, SC candidates, their conductors of marriages also different tradition. Please observe, just like the Muslim, the Christian, the Hindu also, the marriages also very different styles according to anthropology. Even the OC candidates, even the BC also, various community also different categories. Okay, so here history, anthropology, sociology, social linguistics, and psychology. So psychology is a study of human behavior according to J.B. Watson, J.B. Aristotle, Titchener, William James, Kant. These are the express their great psychological definitions regarding the human behavior. And finally, the psychology is a study of human behavior. Actually, Aristotle expressed psychology is study of soul, but maximum of candidates not accepted. And second one, Titchener and Kante, psychology study of mind, and also again not accepted. And third one, William James expressed psychology study of a human conscious, the conscious and unconscious. In between the there is a William James. The definitions also sometimes maximum of people not accepted. And finally, the psychology is the study of human behavior expressed by J.B. Watson. Actually, the R.S. Woodworth there expressed the details also. The psychology lost their soul, lost their mind, lost the conscious, and final kept in behavior by defined by R.S. Woodworth, the very great definition in psychology. According to your TET and DSC, PRT, CTET also, these type of definitions very important. Dear student friends, please try to understanding what type of definitions those who are defined the psychology or another subjects. Please try to read once again one or two times the definitions. That are very important. Okay, come to the point. However, these disciplines sometimes differ in their approaches to how and why gender is often studied. For instance, in anthropology, sociology, psychology, gender often studied as a practice, whereas a gender are more often examined. Okay, once again, scope of gender, I will repeat. Gender is related to many disciplines such as literary theory, drama studies, film theory, contemporary art, history, anthropology, sociology, social linguistics, psychology. However, these disciplines sometimes differ in their approaches to how and why gender often studies. For instance, in anthropology, sociology, and psychology, gender is often studied as a practice, whereas of gender are more often examined. Okay, gender is a social constructed. Gender is a social constructed. Okay, gender is a complex. Gender is a complex social constructed. Gender is a complex phenomenon which is socially and cultural constructed. An individual acquires gender through a process of socialization. That is, the person acquires the gender body, feminine or masculine, in the course of social development. Once again, gender as a social construct. Gender is a complex phenomenon which is socially and culturally constructed. An individual acquiring gender through a process of socialization. That is, the person acquires the gendered body, feminine or masculine, in the course of social development. Okay, gender is a stereotype. As the gender stereotype are a simplistic generalization about the gender attributes, difference, and the roles of individuals. So, what is called stereotype? Stereotype is a habitude. So, common regular their habitude or their behavioral system. From morning to evening, from the day-to-day life, what they're acting, what their involvement, what their task, what their behavior. These are the stereotype. The men and female or boy or girl, what they are doing from starting to ending, from the class or college or university, whatever it may be, according to their involvements, according to their activities, according to their tasks, we will show their gender discriminations. From the social activities, generalize about the gender attributes, difference and the roles of individuals. So individual means the individuals also very important. What is called individual? Individual means the individual differences. Actually, the individual difference also two types. There is an inter-individual and intra-individuals. Individual difference is a two types: inter-individuals and intra. Inter means the two persons are two candidates. Difference between the two persons or two candidates, their behavior or activity or anything, their indication is called interpersonal things. And intra means is a only single person, దాని మన తెలుగులో అంతస్తు అంటుంటాం. The same person, their habitude or attributes are according to any system, the levels is the called as a attribute. So individuals, groups. Stereotype can be positive or negative. sometimes indicate as a positive, sometimes negative also. So according to their positive things, they do some positive behavior. If you feel any negative, some negative behavior. According to their behavior also indicate the society is a positive person or negative person. Okay, but they rarely communicate accurate information about others. Okay, gender stereotypes are simplistic generalization about the gender attributes, difference, and the roles of individuals and groups. Stereotypes can be positive or negative, but they rarely communicate accurate information about others. Okay, gender role and relations. So gender role can be defined as the social roles that a person expected to fulfill based upon his or her gender. These vary in different social, cultural, and historical contexts. Okay, the gender role can be defined as the social roles that a person is expected to fulfill based upon his or her gender. These vary in different social, cultural, and historical contexts. And come to the what's the difference between sex and gender. So these are the very important aspects. This is a very good information also. The sex is a biological differences, gender is a social differences. Already in the beginning of this class I explained. So sex is a indication of men or women. Actually the last the 10 to 15 years back, actually only the sex are male and female. But last 10 to 15 years back, in our Supreme Courts and other courts also, the third gender also, the transgender also indicating of the sex also. Sometimes according to some applications or offices or any official communication, sex is only indication of the only two types, that's the male and female. But here, the last 10 to 15 years, there's some courts, just like a High Court and Supreme Court also, they give some the third gender also. Some states also they give a some the member of parliament seats also, just like in our Maharashtra. Maharashtra also the one person, the transgender, the third gender antunta manam, third gender transgender, they give a one choice to elected or election participations of the elections also at Maharashtra. There is the success in their MP elections also, they got a MP seats also. So according to in the last 5 6 years back also, in our government they give some one opportunity to the postings also. One transgender, I think maybe the word the Lakshmi also, they got a essay post according to the third gender, transgender also they get it. Okay, so come to the point, the sex and the gender. What's the difference between the sex and gender? Sex is a biological differences, the gender is a social differences. Already previous class we explained the biological difference means just like the X and X chromosomes, Y and Y, and combinations of the X and Y, the very starting, just like the infancy level stages, what the indication of the boy or girl, that is called the sex. Or men and girl, men and women as also indication of sex. Here come to the main differences between the sex and gender. The difficult to change. Actually, the sex is a very difficult to change. We are born male or female. Actually, once the born from the male or female, there's no continuation until the end of their life. There's no change. No one can change the gender system. Of course, sometimes the just like the character levels, the male indicate as a female, the female indicate as a male. Even though their body changes, their dress changes, their face changes, everybody changes, but very difficult to the biological system. No one can change the biological system. So the sex is difficult to change. Gender can be changed since gender identity is determined by society. Sex throughout history and across culture, sex difference exists. At different times in history and different societies, gender roles are different. The policies respond to sex differences areas to do with the physical body. It is a biological system. It denotes the visible difference in procreative function. Gender is a socio-cultural construct, and it refers to masculine and feminine qualities behavior patterns, related roles and responsibilities. Already I explained the half an hour before what's the roles and the responsibilities. Okay, the sex, it is a natural. Gender, it is a social construct. Sex is, it is a universal term. The gender, it is a variable, it is change under the influence of time, geographical and socio-cultural settings. Actually, అంతకుముందు సెక్స్ ఒకటే ఉండేది, మేల్ అండ్ ఫీమేల్ అనగా. బట్ in this time, the last 4 to 5 years, in the applications or areas, also indication is a gender. Gender is not indications of the male and female according to their characteristics, according to their roles, according to their qualities, according to the behavior. They indicate as a gender. Is it male or female? So okay, once again I repeat the difference between sex and gender. Sex is difficult to change, gender can be changed. Since gender, the sex is throughout history and across culture, sex difference exists at different times through history and in different society. Gender roles and different. Okay, the sex policies respond to sex difference areas to do with the physical body. It is a biological system. It denotes the visible difference in practice, in function. It is a socio-cultural construct, and it refers to masculine and feminine qualities, behavior, patterns, related roles, responsible. It is a sex is a natural, gender is a social construct, sex is a universal term. The sex gender is a variable, it changes under the influence of time, geographical and socio-cultural things. So today we are discuss some gender, meaning of gender and scope of gender. So once again I repeat the concept of gender. There is a first unit discuss chesam manam concept of gender, what is gender, and culture and relations between the men and women, and the gender terms and the definitions, the meaning of gender also we described, and gender reference ఏంటనేది మనం చూసాం. And so scope of gender also explained. Gender as a social constructed, gender is a stereotype, gender role and relations discussion, and finally difference between the sex and gender chesam. So dear student friends, please try to understanding in this lesson. This is the Sem4 first chapter, that is a gender school society, concept of gender. Try to understanding in this lesson. Maximum we will try to read, and once again if you feel any doubt, please call to me, or if you don't